Okay, I'm back to part 4 here with the armature rewind. Basically, I wanted to this one's going to be really short. I just wanted to go through a very short process to where I'm not using words that nobody understands. Definitions, so to speak, on what I call what. So if I say something, you actually understand it. That, of course, everybody's probably aware of what the comm is. So slot car motors have comms with 3 poles on them. I call the poles the little tabs where the wire is going to actually solder. See these little poles. I call this the stacks. That's what I call if I talk about a stack or wrapping around a stack or something like that. That's what I'm calling the stack. Of course, this is the arm shaft. You probably are not going to hear me refer to that a whole lot. Timing in a slot car arm, if I refer to that, I'm going to do a whole nother video on that and how to set timing and stuff. Obviously, you could set timing to whatever you want if it's like this. Some of your stock arms, you're kind of limited on how far you can turn the comm to without really digging into a lot of stuff there. But just for a short basic video, timing is how far the term is turned on the armature, and this one's not, I've not diluted it down or anything yet. I've got to check with the gentleman this one's for and see what he actually wants before I do that. So basically, there's a couple things on here. I personally, when I do this, I want the same, and some people might say you have to do it like that, but I want the same turns on each stack. Like one turn or one wrap around the arm is going to be starting from the top. If I go around the arm with one wire, when I get back to the top, that is one turn. That's what I'm referring to if I say I'm going to put 70 turns on this one stack. That means I've took the wire and went around 70 times, basically. Now, the trick to this, or what you want to do to this, is just go slow. I mean, obviously you can get as neat as you want to laying this wire in here. So basically, if you the sloppier you get in there, the less winds you're going to have in there. The neater you are, the more winds you can put in there. So there's we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about how many winds and what winds do on an arm and stuff. So, or turns. So everybody should agree that the least amount of turns you have on each stack of the arm will increase RPM of a motor. So if a track is a very high running, high speed, minimal, letting off the throttle track, the less turns you have on each stack is done to increase your RPMs. What that actually does, though, where it actually increases your RPMs, it will take away torque out of your slot car motor. Now, there's other ways to get torque out of a motor as well, and some of my other videos that I'm going to be uploading on my channel will discuss that. But as far as winds go, two things: the least amount of winds on the arm, the higher RPM the motor should be. The more winds on an arm, the more torque you're going to have on the motor, the more acceleration, the more takeoff power. But you're going to lose some of that high revving RPM. So oval racing, you know, there was a track years ago that I ran at, very high speed, you know, wide open, you know, probably 98% of your lap. There was no throttle control or anything. It was more or less just to pump it and get back on it for one corner and go as fast as you can go. It was a huge oval. It took about, well, when we started there, it took about, you know, 8 seconds to get around. The track was redone several times. It got down to, I believe I actually ran, well, I actually know I actually ran the fastest lap ever run around it in 5.9 seconds. And I don't think anybody ever got into the fives on the standard voltage we were running. And I only did it once. You know, we got down to pretty regularly. We was running like 6.1, 6.2, 6.3s, something like that. But this was a very big track, big oval. So a track like that, you know, decreasing the winds on the arms, you know, that's what you wanted. You didn't really care about your takeoff. You were gearing cars so high because it was so big anyway. Everybody took off slow. So you wanted the most RPM you could get. You really wasn't that concerned about torque. So, you know, same building had a road course, for example. Had a nice road course in there. I'm not a huge road course person. You know, I like to play with it, but I can't drive them. I'm not a. I grew up on ovals, and I've run ovals the majority of my life, but I do like to play on road courses, and I usually have really fast cars. I just need somebody to drive them for me. But anyway, road course, as far as winds like that, you know, the winds on the arms on the road course, you know, if you set a car up and you could run, if I pulled the same motor out of the, you know, big oval track and put it in a road course, it usually would not run at all. Wouldn't run good at all, because it had no torque. It you know, the motors virtually lost all their acceleration power. So that's what I want to touch base. If somebody wanted to know, you know, what the winds do on arms, I wanted to be clear about, you know, which direction, you know, you're going. And, you know, if I'm not making these videos to show people how to cheat. I'm making these videos to show people it definitely can be done. Well, if I could speak, it definitely can be done if you're going to your home track and you are getting smoked by every week. I'm telling you this to kind of show some people what to look for and why they might be getting, you know, smoked. You know, ultimately, I've had the most fun slot car racing when I was actually getting beat. When I was, you know, trying to catch somebody or running hard, trying to outrun somebody and stuff like that. It's no fun when you know, you have it. Well, I won't say it's no fun. It might be fun for some people, but you know, when you have a car that's blowing everybody away, what fun is that? So, you know, ultimately slot car, you know, racing, you want it to come down to the driver. If you could make, you know, 6 cars perfectly identical, or 8 cars perfectly identical, or however many cars, you know, that runs on your tracks, if you could get them to run exactly the same and put it in the driver's hands, that's what you're ultimately wanting at a slot car track. So don't think I'm showing you how to do this because I'm wanting you to cheat. I'm showing you how to do this because if you're going to your local slot car track every week and you are getting slaughtered, you know, and this could definitely help some people that run tracks and stuff across the country. Know what to look for. If you have to tear the motors down and pull the arms out to see some of this stuff, do it. It literally takes somebody. It should not take anybody more than 5 minutes to pull the arm out of it, completely out of the motor, and have it in your hand looking at it. Chances are you are going to be able to see it, unless, well, I wouldn't say it's bulletproof that you'll be able to see this has been done, because if somebody's really good with a soldering iron and really neat with their work, it's going to look factory and it's not going to pass a visual test. But there are ways to check these arms, you know, and check the resistance and stuff in them. I'm calling it the resistance. Somebody might call it something else. But there is ways to check that stuff. And we'll go over that on a later video on how to check them to see, you know, what they should be in, where they should be, and I can show you what to do that as well. That'll be a later video. You know, Parma, you know, done the same thing. I mean, they had a PSE division. I've got one of those old arms poured out here, to where they were making, I've still got, I'm actually a collector on some of this old stuff too, and I'm going to be doing a complete video on, especially since Mid-America come back out with the Parma motors again. I know tracks are going to be running them across the country, and there's going to be a lot of people trying to slip some of these arms in, like Slotworks and Trinities and Cats and PSEs, you know, you know, some people don't like the performance, you know, arms. And I'm going to do an entire video on how to identify what arm. And like I said, I've collected through the years on a lot of this stuff, and I have these arms brand new in the pack that I can show you, and I can show you specifically what to look for and how to ID these arms. And there is ways, you know, there is 100% a way to ID a CAT or CAT arm. There is 100% a way to ID a Trinity Super 16D arm. They made a Super 16D Outlaw Trinity arm. They made the Parma 502 AU, the Parma 502T, the Parma 502TU. They made a Parma, and fortunately, I actually, one of my friends that I actually didn't have some of these, and I bought them specifically, you know, because I had this video in mind for my YouTube channel. But Parma actually made oh my goodness, I've done lost train of thought. I don't have one in the pack, but it's called a Parma 502 zipper arm. And, you know, those are really easy to ID, though, because the shafts in them, you know, a little bit different than the Super 16Ds, and the stacks are closer. You don't have a lot of shafts sticking out at the top. But I do have some pictures of I actually have, due to a friend let me have a couple of them, just, and like I said, I just bought it for this video purpose, or the video I'm gonna make purpose. But I do have some photos of them. I've been looking for years of one in a pack, just because I like to collect this stuff. But that'll come at a later time. I'm gonna get that video together for y'all pretty shortly. Right now, we're just concentrating on showing you how to rewind this arm and helping you understand how the power goes through these arms, and what does things well in them, what does things, you know, not so great in them. I'm gonna have some motor building videos too that, you know, not everybody's gonna want to even try this. I'm gonna have some motor building videos of how to get the most out of some of these factory arms. So stay tuned. We're going to get to winding this arm here shortly, and I would go ahead and start it on this video, but we're already at 15 minutes on this video, and some of these things take a ton of time to load. So we're going to stop it right here, and next video will be the one that people's been waiting to see, and that's how these winds are going to go on the arm, and what we're going to do to connect them to the tabs, and we'll probably, I'm still waiting to hear back for what kind of timing he wants, but if I don't hear back pretty quick, I will just put it where I think it needs to be, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned.